If love were measured by how confused you feel at night, you'd be in the healthiest relationship on earth. Because nothing says I love you quite like lying next to someone who makes you feel lonely, second guessing your worth, replaying conversations in your head, wondering why you're always the one trying to fix what keeps breaking. Here's the uncomfortable truth most people avoid. Many people stay in relationships long after the love is gone, not because it's working, but because leaving feels harder than suffering. And the most dangerous part? Most people don't realize they're unloved. They just call it normal. This isn't about blaming your partner. It's about waking up. Because love isn't supposed to feel like emotional, unpaid labor with occasional hugs as compensation. Here are 5 signs your partner doesn't truly love you, even if you're convinced they do. 1. They're comfortable hurting you and calling it honesty. This one cuts deep. They say things that hurt you, sharp comments, dismissive jokes, cruel truths. And when you react, they don't soften. They double down. I'm just being real. You're too sensitive. That's just how I am. That's not honesty. That's emotional laziness. Someone who loves you still cares about how their words land. They can be honest and compassionate. They don't use truth as a weapon and then act confused when you're bleeding. Notice the pattern. You say something hurt you. You don't get curiosity. You get defensiveness. You don't get accountability. You get lectures. You don't get repair. You're minimized, mocked, or shut down. Love says, I didn't mean to hurt you. Let's talk about it. Lack of love says, your reaction is the problem. And if you're constantly shrinking your feelings just to keep the peace, that isn't maturity. That's self-abandonment. 2. Your needs are too much, but theirs are urgent emergencies. Think carefully about the imbalance. When they need space, you're expected to respect it immediately. When they're stressed, you're supposed to understand. When they're upset, everything stops. But when you need reassurance, time, affection, or effort, suddenly you're demanding, clingy, dramatic, asking for too much. That imbalance tells you everything you need to know. Love doesn't keep score, but it does show up consistently. If your needs are treated like inconveniences while theirs are treated like commandments, you're not in a partnership. You're in a one-sided emotional service role. And over time, this quietly changes you. You start negotiating your own needs. You ask for less so you won't be a burden. You tell yourself it's not that serious when it clearly is. Someone who loves you doesn't make you feel guilty for wanting basic emotional connection. 3. They only invest effort when there's something in it for them. Pay attention to when they show up. Is it when they want something? Sex, favors, forgiveness, validation, support. But when there's nothing to gain, the effort disappears. Texts get dry, plans get postponed, affection fades, conversations feel rushed or transactional. Love shows effort even when it's inconvenient, even when life is busy, even when there's no immediate reward. If you're always initiating conversations, planning time together, fixing conflicts, and keeping the emotional engine running, that's not teamwork. That's you carrying the relationship while they enjoy the ride. And here's the brutal truth people hate hearing. If they wanted to, they would. People make time for what they value, every time. 4. They invalidate your pain instead of trying to understand it. This is a silent relationship killer. You open up about something that hurt you. Maybe it's small, maybe it's huge. Instead of listening, they minimize. You're overthinking. It's not that deep. You're making a big deal out of nothing. That didn't happen like that. Over time, this does something dangerous. You stop trusting your own emotions. You question your memory. You feel confused, unstable, emotionally exhausted. Love listens first. Love asks questions. Love doesn't rush to win an argument at the cost of your emotional safety. If every serious conversation ends with you feeling stupid for bringing it up, that's not communication. That's conditioning. You're being trained to stay quiet. 5. You feel more alone with them than without them. This is the loudest sign of all. You can be in the same room, the same bed, the same relationship, and still feel deeply alone. Not physically alone, emotionally abandoned. You hesitate to share good news because they don't really celebrate you. You hesitate to share bad news because they don't really support you. You feel like you're constantly performing just to keep their interest. Love feels safe. It feels like relief. It feels like you can breathe. If your relationship feels like constant tension, anxiety, or emotional guessing games, your body already knows the truth. Your mind is just trying to catch up. Loneliness inside a relationship is far more damaging than being single, because at least when you're alone, you're not constantly reminded that the person next to you isn't choosing you. Why this is so hard to accept. Most people don't stay because they're happy. They stay because they're attached to who the person used to be or who they hope they'll become again. You remember the beginning, the effort, the attention, the version of them that made you feel chosen. And you keep waiting for that version to come back. But love doesn't need to be chased. If you have to beg for basic respect, consistency, and care, that's not love going through a rough patch. That's you trying to resurrect something that's already gone. And here's the part nobody wants to hear. Love isn't proven by how much pain you can tolerate. Staying doesn't make you loyal. Enduring doesn't make you strong. Sacrificing yourself doesn't make the relationship real. It just makes you tired. A healthy relationship doesn't make you question your worth every day. It doesn't make you feel like you're asking for too much when you're really asking for the bare minimum. You don't need more patience. You don't need to explain yourself one last time in a nicer way. You need honesty with yourself. Because the moment you stop asking, do they love me? And start asking, how do I feel in this relationship? Everything becomes painfully clear. Love feels like effort from both sides. Love feels like emotional safety. Love feels like being seen, not tolerated. And if this feels uncomfortably familiar, that's not coincidence. That's your intuition asking you to stop ignoring what you already know. You deserve a relationship where love isn't something you have to prove you're worthy of. Sometimes the bravest thing you can do isn't staying, fixing, or enduring. It's leaving with your dignity intact. The Stoics believe that suffering doesn't come from events themselves, but from our attachment to them. Marcus Aurelius warned that when you allow someone to treat you without care, you're not just tolerating them, you're abandoning yourself. Love that costs you your peace is not love. It's emotional debt. And when you choose self-respect over false hope, you don't lose a relationship. You gain your life back. Sometimes walking away isn't giving up. It's choosing yourself for the first time.